Welcome to SFL Game Day Wrap-Up, July 31st, 2021 edition. Alongside Tom Welsh, I'm Cameron Irvine. Awesome slate of games on Saturday to close out week 2. I can't believe it. I get a Sunday off. I can't believe it. Sort of. I still have a convention to plan. But no, a great Saturday slate. And it kind of ended with my dog is crashing my studio. Great way to end the week 2 slate. It ends in overtime in Portland, Tom. What a game. Jimmy Hazard on a walk-off. His first career touchdown as a pro anyway is a walk-off overtime touchdown. Portland forced overtime by forcing a fumble. An amazing play by Gary Burney. Just outstanding. He was double teamed and still managed to break through the double team and force the fumble on Gaines. And then they were able to get a field goal, but not enough juice in OT in Baltimore's 2-0.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. You know, that huge fumble recovery that Portland had to get back into it and then to drive down the field and then just to not punch it in at the end. That was heartbreaking, but they got the 3 to tie it up to go into overtime and had their chances in overtime. But, you know, Jimmy Hazard, the rookie, like you said, the walk-off win, that's huge for Baltimore to go 2-0 and, you know, a heartbreaking loss for Portland, but they're definitely positives to take from it.
Well, it's certainly a lot better performance in week 1 against Houston. About that Baltimore offense, 57 last week. LA looked a little bit better defensively today against St. Louis, but 57 last week and then 36 on the road in Portland. The Vultures not slowing down. Very similar to the DC Dragons. We were kind of trying to figure out who was going to come crashing back down to earth after that crazy week 1. Most teams did, except for Baltimore and DC, both in the North Division.
Yeah, and both had huge, games this week. Baltimore's offense might be the real deal. They dropped, the 50 burger last week and then 36 this week, and Jack Whitmore had close to 500 yards passing tonight. Their offense is the real deal. And if they could just get Jimmy Hazard going a little bit more consistently, I think they'll be definitely scary to face off against.
We had 4 500-yard passers in week 1. We had 0 in week 2, but Jack Whitmore got the closest. Very well done. 40 of 48, nearing the 500 yards, as Tom said. So Baltimore's looking sharp, but we got to stay in the North. This North Division, holy crap. Where did the North come from? I mean, the first 2 weeks have been insane, and Queen City is 2-0 for the first time since July 23rd, 2018. That's over 3 years or 6 seasons since the last time that Queen City was 2-0. And guess who they beat to get to 2-0? London. 3 years ago. They beat Houston in week 1 3 years ago, and they beat London in week 2. They did it again to get to 2-0 today. Your takeaway from Queen City's dominant victory over the London Knights?
Jet Zero. We watched so many of his highlights today and did a bunch of game breaks in because he just kept running over people and doing his thing. He was definitely the catalyst to that offense and really carried them today.
They're calling him Jet Hero now, Tom. I don't know if you saw that, but yeah, Jet Hero for Queen City, and kind of put the kibosh on Johnny Pickler's hot start in London in week 1. I mean, he was very impressive against Atlanta. Struggled today with 4 picks on the road. And London just, I tell you what, the big game-changing play was the kickoff return by Doug Spelling, the kickoff return touchdown that answered a London score. I think that made it 17-14. Queen City was up by 3, and then Spelling took it to the house right before the end of the first half, and London really didn't look the same after that.
Right, exactly. I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head there. They didn't really seem to be the same, with Pickler throwing 4 interceptions. Definitely far cry from his record-setting week that he had last week with London in his debut.
So Queen City gets to 2-0 for the first time ever, and Charleston gets to 2-0. Or, I'm sorry, Queen City, it's been a long weekend. Queen City,
Yeah.
2-0 for the first time since 2018. Well, Charleston, 2-0 for the first time ever. There you go.
Yeah,
The
there it
Charleston Predators come back and take out the Louisiana Revolution in their home opener, and Charleston is now 2-0 and leads the Atlantic Division. For Florida and Carolina not far behind at 1-1, but a somewhat distant 1-1 at least for now, as Charleston is 2-0. And guess what, Tom? Charleston plays D.C. next week at the convention.
Whoa.
How exciting is that going to be? Charleston's defense has been so good, and D.C.'s offense has been so good. And I think that's either the first game or the second game on Friday before the Hall of Fame. That's going to be an exciting game, and I know people are going to be watching that intently. But, yeah, Charleston 2-0 for the first time. They get the victory over Louisiana. Your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, it was a close game the whole time, and, a timely injury by Tank Bennett on Louisiana, their strong safety really kind of opened the door for Charleston to really step up and get the deep pass working, and capped it off with some Swearinger nice runs. It really was the recipe that they needed to pull out the victory.
Louisiana has got to find some consistency. Week 1, they give up 31 in a row, then they score 17 in a row. Then in week 2, they give up the first 10, they score the next 23, and then they give up the last 17. It's crazy. And like you said, the Tank Bennett injury was big for them, losing him to a hairline, I think, or something. But
yeah.
They just didn't look the same. But it's got to be frustrating for Louisiana because in stretches they put it all together, but they're sitting at 0-2, and that's got to be kind of disappointing when you look at the East standings here early. Tulsa and Atlanta are 1-1. St. Louis is 1-1, and Louisiana's 0-2. So not the end of the world. The East is off to a bit of a sluggish start, but still got to be frustrated the fact that they've really played, I would say, three really good quarters and 5 not so great.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you said it. They're really being helped out by the East getting off to that slow start, and really everybody being 1-1 and them 0-2. They're just a game or two back, and with the right adjustments and with an unfortunate injury, they're probably looking at 1-1. But they need to make those adjustments and hope that the APF gods don't hurt them again like they did today with the Tank Bennett injury.
Yeah, it's a long season, but man, these hurt. Especially when they're nail biters like that, and you have an opportunity. They had an opportunity to Hail Mary, and Tommy Utah just got crushed. He got crushed on the previous play. That's why they almost didn't even get the Hail Mary off, because he got hit so hard. It took him forever to get to the line. He took a beating today. That was that Charleston defensive line is no joke. All right, game balls for Sunday, week 2. Who you got, Tom?
So my first game ball will go to our last game of the night, and that'll be Jack Wigmore with his 476 yards passing and 3 touchdowns, 40 for 48. He lit up Portland pretty much the whole game, and no turnovers is outrageous from him. That's uncommon in this game. So having that many passing yards and 3 touchdowns, that's huge. That was my first game ball.
All right, my first game ball will go to Buchanan Simons. He was unstoppable today. Louisiana couldn't do anything with him when Bennett was on the field and when Bennett wasn't on the field. Simons destroyed over 170 yards, couple of touchdowns, got to 50 in his career, so a huge accomplishment for him, and just looked dynamic. And by the way, Ken Maccaro on the other side caught his first 9 targets, had 9 receptions on 9 targets. So that receiving core really showed up for Charleston today. That was one of T.D. Drew's better games. He played really well, but Buchanan Simons, dominant, just dominant, gets my game ball.
I agree. Yeah, he had a great day. My second game ball goes to a man that I mentioned earlier. That's Jet Zero, or Jet Hero as we're calling him now. Almost 2 bills on the ground. Had 198 with 2 touchdowns. He was the one that stood out in the dominance by QCC. He just ran over people and made some spectacular plays and really made it their game and really just dominated the whole time.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. An honorable mention to Jimmy Hazard with the walk-off, but I don't want to double up on Baltimore and then get all the hate mail, and you know how it goes, Tom.
Right.
No, great game ball. Jet Zero definitely deserves it. I'm gonna go Rochelle Colston. Couple of picks today. LA's defense forced 6 turnovers on Christian Brown. One of the very ugly day for Christian Brown, but can't blame him entirely. Paul Dillevue got hurt. That was a huge injury for St. Louis. They only got 2 star receivers. You can't lose one to an injury like that. You're going to really struggle. And he kind of dug himself a hole, so he was constantly throwing, trying to get him back in the game. So just a tough day for Christian Brown. But Rochelle Colston, it's been a tough time for Rochelle. She's of course, having to deal with the 47-point loss they had in week 1. You're trying to take this team to the promised land. You're trying to make it to the convention. She's had some health stuff going on, nothing super serious, but it's frustrating, right? And it's been a frustrating time. And Rochelle, collects herself today and has a pretty great performance, including the one that she snatched out of the air and took for a touchdown. So Rochelle Colston gets my game ball. LA, not the most impressive 14-point victory ever. They got out. St. Louis outgained them by 200 yards. LA had 24 in the first quarter, and then they put up a field goal the rest of the way. But a win's a win, especially in the Pacific when you're trying to keep up with Vancouver and San Diego and Portland. You don't want to fall down with them. So big win today for LA. So Rochelle gets my game ball, and hopefully we'll see her at the convention if she can come. But yeah, good stuff. That's a wrap for week 2. So convention, put the schedule up on the screen. We've got 6 live games on Saturday. We'll have games on our YouTube channel here Sunday, 4 of them, and then Friday, 2 of them. They will be YouTube premieres. And then you can catch all of the streaming of the convention on our Twitch channel. So it should be a lot of fun, and looking forward to it. Tom, thanks for filling in for Mike St. Green, who will be back with us after the convention is done. But the first 2 weeks are in the books, and we certainly enjoyed bringing it to you, all of SFL Nation, over the last couple of weekends. So that's it. Any last words for the folks, Tom, before you go back into your social media dungeon and we never see your face again?
Right, yeah. Beyond excited to be a part of the broadcast the past 2 days. Super thrilled to be able to fill in for Mike. I understand now how hard your guys' job is, both you and him, on a day-to-day basis when you broadcast games. And like I said yesterday, if Mike doesn't want to come back, I'm definitely willing to take his job. I had a blast these past 2 days being able to do it, and yeah, now I'll just go back to sending out my tweets and Facebook posts and Instagram feeds and doing all that fun stuff and making graphics. So definitely going back into that world.
Sounds good, Tom. Thanks for all you do, and thanks to everybody out there in the SFL that makes this league so great. For Tom, I'm Cam. We'll see you later.